everyone. It is Alana here. I am just trying to get my page loaded on my end so that I can follow along with you guys here in case anybody joins in. Hopefully some of you will get to join in. I don't see things popping up there just yet, so hopefully it's on the right page and not my personal page. Hi Ramona, do you mind just confirming for me that this is actually on Sleepless Stamper and not my own page? Because I think it might be on my own page. And if that's the case, I'll close here. Oh no, it's on Sleepless Stamper. It just took a little bit to load. Phew. That would have been super embarrassing if it was on my own page. That has happened once before. And by the time I realized it, it was way too late to switch. But it's certainly not wanting to load properly for me to see comments. So I'm going to just grab my phone, stay here, and then at least I can comment, or not comment, but see your comments on my phone. 1 second. All right, I am back. At least I have my phone now. And I can't see the video on my iPad, so I'm just gonna pull it up on my page while Ryan tries to fix it. Pull it up on my phone, I should say. And then I can follow along. There we go. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay. Hi, Tracy and Linda. All right, so I'm gonna try to keep these comments showing for me while I make this without the use of the iPad. So I'm gonna create this card for you guys. And first I just wanted to give a quick little recap because I had not posted the graphics with the flyers from last week. So I just wanted to give a quick little recap on that and to let you guys know that both of the share and the creative challenge, I'll keep those open until Monday at 6 because I just posted the creative challenge photo today. So if you have had a chance or if you haven't yet and still want to, you can watch for the photo of these cards, this one, and the coordinating turtle. So if you look for the photo of this with the turtle that I made for you guys last week, then you can post a photo of your project in the comments under that post. And then when you have a photo entered, then that will earn you a draw entry. I know one person had texted me their photo. So if you just make sure, and I'll send that person a text just to let them know to make sure that they add it here. And so then that way it'll be counted for the draw. So I'll just move that out of the way. So both creative challenge and share challenge from last week. If you share today's video, then you can be entered into another draw for me to send a card to you. You just have to share and then also comment that you shared, because if you don't comment that you shared, I won't know. It doesn't always, for some reason, the privacy settings don't always show who it was that shared. So I just need you to comment that you did after you've shared it. All right, so real quick here, this class is Monday, but you can still get a kit if you wish to participate in this one. I showed you guys these cards last week. This one's a fancy kind of pop-up card. This is the Rain or Shine Suite cards. And, oh, I thought I had my other one handy to show you guys. But, 1 sec. I thought I had them both sitting right here. And the other one does not seem to be here. So perhaps I'll get a chance to grab it yet. If not, I did post it in the graphics on my page. So, oh, here it is, this one here. So these are the two Stamp Club cards. And if you wish to join me to make these or get the kit and make them later, then you can do that with a $40 purchase. The proper host code is shared in this graphic on my page. So that is this one. And then if you wish to get the kit for this class here, it's both sets of them. That one's an $80 purchase, and then you would get the supplies to make both of these. You do need to include a package of the Regency Park DSP because you use that to make these cards. If you already own it, then you could sub that out with something else. And then that is the host code for those. And then tomorrow starts the Irresistible Bloom Stamp Camp. That one again is a $40 purchase with this host code here. That gives you access to tutorials to make all of these 12 cards, and there will be videos throughout the day tomorrow so that you can actually join the Stamp Camp and create them along with, hi Lori, with everybody at the event. Or afterwards as well, because you'll get all the cut files, and cut files meaning the file that tells you how to cut all of your paper to make those. And then some people are doing live videos. Mine's a pre-recorded video because it's at 2 a.m. my time slot, but it should be lots of fun. So that is that one there. And then my 15th anniversary or birthday special is still on as well. So with this host code here, you can place either a $65 order to receive a free gift or a $100 order to receive the same free gift and a free anniversary class. So you can either let me know or that you want to participate in any one of these events, or you can use the host code, and that's how I'll know which event you want to qualify for. Okay, so we will get started on this card now. I'm excited to make this for you guys. I saw a card made by, I think Charlotte is how you say her name. She is on the artisan team, and she had used the Regency Park suite, and I think it was Daffodil Delight. She had a layer popped up in the middle with this greeting, and then she had flowers in either corner. And as soon as I saw that, I wanted to add this Rays of Light. So that's actually a background stamp in the annual catalog. It is super cute. I've seen this one used a lot with the owl. If you got the, gosh, I can't remember the name of it. It was the Celebration stamp set. So that one is a really versatile stamp. Who knows if that will be on the retiring list coming up, but it's annual catalog, so it could be. And then I wanted to pair it with this because I thought that the bunny from the rain was kind of a symbol of the, so it says, may the road ahead of you be brighter than the one behind, lined with wildflowers and covered in sunshine. So the road behind, you're looking towards the brighter road ahead. So I thought that kind of symbolized that. So this is the Covered in Sunshine stamp, and I have some ideas for this one too. There's a lot of really pretty ideas with that stamp, but I wanted to use it with the Rain or Shine suite, of course. So yeah, all right. So I am going to show you guys some products here that I used. And does anyone have guesses on what I did? I had posted on my page the other day. Does anyone know what surgery I did to the bunny? So I'm sure it's obvious now with this bunny right beside it, but I'll just check the comments and see if you guys have any suggestions on what I did to that bunny there. I do too, Linda. It's very cute. The back ear. Yes. So you can see here, if I were to layer this bunny here, the ear covers the greeting. So I really wanted to use the bunny, so I just snipped it off and then tucked it up, and I thought that it kind of gave it a neat 3D look that way too. So I'll show you guys how I did that. But first, I am going to just move the supplies aside. So there's not actually a whole lot to this card. I've got my 4 1/4 by 11 card base, or you could cut it the other way if you prefer book fold, but I have chosen the tent fold. And then Daffodil Delight is the color of cardstock that I've used. So this one is 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to stamp it first with the background before we do the other techniques to it. I have pre-cut these cute little clouds from the Playing in the Rain dies. So that is, sorry, my long hair is on there. So these clouds right here. So I just used the large one and the small one. I originally had the third one on there, but it just didn't look quite right, so I took it off. So I used that one, and then I textured them with a subtle portion of the painted texture folder. So I just strategically found one. I had originally done it with really big texture, like some of these lines, and it was just, I don't know, too textured. So I redid some with some of the flatter portions. All right, so I have the stamp set up on a Stamparatus plate. So I am going to use this, and I'm going to ink this up with Daffodil Delight. The iPad seems to be working now, so hopefully I can keep up with you guys. All right, so I'm just going to ink this up with Daffodil Delight. And then I just centered this. And then I have a scrap piece of paper. I like to take this and then just, by putting this piece of paper, I can press all over the piece of cardstock and not worry that that ink is going to get all over my fingers. So I'm just holding it steady with one hand and then applying pressure with the other. And with background stamps, I usually like to put the stamp face up like this and then apply ink and put my cardstock onto it like I have here. The reason for that is just that I can see better what I'm doing, as opposed to putting my paper down on my mat, inking up the stamp, and then trying to flip it over. This just gives me a better visual of what I'm doing. So there we go. So now we have that there. Let's just see. The circle's moved over a little bit, but that's okay. Now I am going to take this and I'm going to tape it down over the middle as best I can anyway, without getting my head in your view. I have clearly used this tape multiple times. Okay. So now I'm going to run that through my Stamp Cut and Emboss machine, which I will actually bring over so you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully you have enough of a view here. So with this one here, it is the main base, this white sheet, a cutting pad, and then line those all up, put my paper on there, and we'll run this through. You'll get a big clunk over that first line and then a big clunk over the next one. All right, so now we can get this out of the way. So there we go. Now, so the reason that I did that first was that now I'm just going to take the heat gun to this. I want to make sure that that ink is dry. Actually, first I'm going to blend a little bit. So because I didn't want the circle here to stand out a ton behind the greeting here, oops, sorry, I blended a little bit of ink over that circle, just to help tone it down a little bit. So I don't need this anymore. That can go out of the way. Just put it back with my magnet sheet. This one, in case I didn't say, that's from the Stitched Rectangles. I used the third largest one. So this one here is the one that I used. Okay, now I've got my blending brush that I have labeled with a Daffodil Delight circle. I'll bring back out my Daffodil Delight ink pad. I can just dab off here, and then I'm just going to blend a little bit of ink from the center of that out. And then it just tones down that circle a little bit. It's not going to make it disappear. I'm not filling it in that much, but this way it'll just not stand out quite as much behind my white greeting there. There we go. Now, before I stamp my greeting on here, I want to make sure that it's nice and dry, the ink, so that when I put my white embossing powder on there, I don't want it sticking to any of this ink that I just applied here or to any of those rays. If any of those parts have held any more ink on them than others, I don't want that white powder to look scattered. So I'm going to just turn my heat gun on. Sorry that you're gonna bear with that noise for a second, but I just want to turn it on and make sure that everything is nice and dry. If you were doing a bunch of these, you could probably just set them aside and let them make sure that they're, just give them some time and you wouldn't need to do this. But because I am doing this in one quick session, I want to make sure that it is nice and dry. Hi, Paulette. Does anybody have spring break plans? Tracy, I know that, I won't say where you are, but I know you're not in Manitoba, so I don't know if you guys have the same spring break. I think last week we were talking about, actually it was in a class, not on a live, but Ontario has already had theirs. Ours just starts today. So yeah, all right, so that should be good now. I actually have the Stamparatus set up again with the greeting. Just excuse that I have the bunny set up on here as well. I'm going to just leave it there because I have it set up for something, but I'm going to use this stamp here on this side of the plate. I almost called it a mat. I want to just make sure that that's about centered because I've already lined. I'm going to move this back over. It's actually lined up to this line here. I forgot that that's where I put that intentionally. There we go. So I'm going to magnet that there. College is done in 4 weeks. I know, here too, university's done very soon. Ethan has a couple classes and he's going to have exams really soon. Okay, so the other thing I want to do is run my embossing buddy on there. I'll have to just reset that up. That'll help make sure that I don't get powder where I don't want it. There we go. Now, Versamark is what I'm using. If you have craft white, you can use that too. And I just want to make sure that this is well inked and that I don't get a halo. So I'm trying to go nice and flat on there. There we go. Just lift up that bunny. There. Okay, so this will be the moment of truth when I powder it and see if it's all good. Do any of you ever feel like it's nerve-wracking to do this part here? It's like the moment of truth, and then you've got to make sure, hope that you don't get a bunch of powder where you don't want it. That actually turned out really well. So there we go. Now, just pour that back in there. I do have the new tray, which I believe you can still get. And it has the amazing tweezers and an embossing buddy with it. So if you don't have one of those, you can still get those. Now, I will heat set this too. And I just love, I'll bring this nice and close. I love the magic of when this goes from powdery to glossy. Look at that, the Of You has started. I like to keep it concentrated on one part at a time instead of just waving all over. I find it heats it up quickly enough, but when it heats it like that and you move on, you don't get scorching if you just heat and carry on. If you stayed on one part for way too long, you can scorch your paper, or it actually can dull the powder. So you don't want to keep heating it past the point of glossiness. There we go. I love that. I think it's so pretty. the way that that stands out with the rays of light, I think it's called, behind it. All right. Oh, that's good about the heat gun. It's good to know because I always wonder just how loud it is. All right, now I'm going to put these pieces down to the base, and then that way I can work on building the rest. So this part here is actually glued straight down. You do want to just make sure, see, look at that. If I had glued that straight down, my lights, the rays of light don't line up from the frame to the insert. So what I was trying to say is you want to line that up first to make sure that this piece is actually right side up. And it's a good thing that I did that because it would have been upside down had I not popped this into place to make sure that it was the right way. So I'm just going to use Tombow to attach this piece here. I'm going to try to keep this right side up in my hand so that I don't flip it upside down while I'm doing this. There we go. I did keep it the right side up. I just have to stand, otherwise I'm going to end up sticking my head right in your guys' view. There we go. And you just use a thin bead so that you don't have it squishing out the sides or up through these little stitched holes. If you can believe it, your Tombow can squeeze up through those. I've had it happen. Just a word of caution. Usually when I have a tip like that, it's because I have done it first. So now I'm using dimensionals. So I like to do one in each corner and one roughly in the middle. There we go. So you can just peel those backings off. Hi, Michelle. And then this is just placed right back into the center there, but it's raised. So it's got a little bit of dimension. And then I'm trying to make sure that there's no white peeking around. There we go. So now that is raised up. And I'll show you guys how I doctored this bunny. So I have my clouds ready to go. And then I'll show you what I did to alter the bunny and why. So originally I was going to just pop the bunny in the corner, but you can see here now the ear covers a good portion of the greeting and I didn't want that. So what I did was I just took my paper snips. With the white bunny, it especially works really well. So I just took my paper snips and cut a very thin border around the nose and then up like that. So now here's his ear. His or her, whichever it is. And I'll take a little dimensional and I'm going to place that on the back right behind here. And then, actually need to move it over. Bunny surgery, totally, Wendy. So I said I needed to perform surgery on him. I get to be a veterinarian for a little bit here. And then now I can take this ear that I cut off and just stick it to the back of that dimensional there. And then that way, now his ear is facing up and it's not in the way of my greeting. So that was my little workaround. That was how I switched that up to make this work, because I can tell you that once I had this much done and I had this idea in my head, I was pretty disappointed when I realized that the ear was going to cover that. So that was what I came up with in order to make this work together. And also I just snipped right around his foot. I went right to the line so that I could move the puddle a little bit as well so that it wasn't too low. There we go. So it's a double surgery. Aw, your bunny was like a dog. That's so cute. You had a pet bunny? I did not ever have a pet bunny. I had a hamster. So then now this little puddle here can get glue dotted to the bottom, and then where I cut the foot off will just hide behind his jacket. So it's going to end up like that. So that was my bunny surgery. It was nothing too drastic. It was very simple, but that was what I did to just fix that up and make it work. So this is on, you can see here, there's a double stack of dimensionals along this side here, and then a single stack along this side here. So I'll get that ready. First I'll glue dot the little puddle onto the card. These puddles are embossed too. I love the way they have designed the paper with so many embossed details. Hopefully once I get this done, you can see the detail. And like I was saying here, I just put that a little bit too high. This is flat to the card. It's not raised. And then the bunny is what will be raised. And I love these little mini dimensionals for stuff like this. So those are going down, whoopsie. The left side of the bunny, you've got to peel those backings off and then stick another one right on top. So that's how you double decker. You've got to peel the backing in between. If you don't peel the backing in between, they won't stick to each other. They'll end up separating. I also know that from experience. Okay, now I don't need a dimensional behind that ear because it's already got a dimensional between it, but I do need to stick a glue dot behind that ear so that it's got something extra holding it. Oh, and you know what? I forgot to die cut the little umbrella. I completely forgot that step. So I will also do that really quick for you guys and show you how I did that. First, I'll get the bunny in place though. So now I want to stick a glue dot behind that ear so that that one will stick nicely to the card. That's the only part of the bunny that goes flat to this layer. Okay. Now, this will allow me to get this in position so that he's still hiding. Oh, you know what? I forgot to peel the backings. That's useful. You also need to peel the backings when you're ready to stick it to your project. Oh my gosh. Is it Friday yet? Not that that means a lot when you work from home, but there we go. He's so cute. So hopefully I won't be able to see the same view because in front of me, it happens a little sooner than it does on screen. But can you guys see the glossiness in the jacket and the puddle there? I think he's such an adorable bunny. Okay, so I will still need these. I am going to just grab the DSP. So this is the umbrella die, this one right here. So I'm going to use that, and I have the DSP here. So look at all this beautiful paper. I am going to take a piece here. I like to just cut it out from the backing first. Well, you have to because this wouldn't even fit through the stamp cut and emboss machine, but even when I'm fussy cutting, I like to cut the piece out that I'm working on. I find it easier to work with a smaller piece and snip around than to have to hold a huge giant piece of paper. So here we are again. We're just going to line this up on here, and I can tape that down. This piece of tape is probably at the end of its life. Hi, Brenda. And I'm just off camera here for a second, just running this through the stamp cut and emboss machine, and I will be right back with you. There we go. There. So now we've got our umbrella. I love that this die works so well with that umbrella. I will say though, I really wish there was an umbrella die for the other one, for the umbrella. I don't know that I showed you guys the other card that I made with lots of umbrellas. I'll show that to you afterwards and you'll see why I really wish there was another umbrella die for the other shape. So there we go. I actually went a little off. So I'm going to just even this side out a little bit. If you ever die cut your pieces with too much to one side, don't be afraid to just snip a little bit off. And I'm not going to go in the little nook of the handle. Better late than never. Yeah, thanks for joining, Janet. So if you're just joining in, I went a little crooked with my die cutting, so I just trimmed a little off one side to even that out some. Now I can glue dot this little umbrella. Tell me, would you guys glue dot it in front of or behind his hand? I put it behind. I'll do this one behind too, but if this was your card, what would you do? So now that's gonna go right there. There we go. So the umbrella's all in place. It is really great DSP, Brenda. I love this DSP. DSP, I'll admit, I'm a sucker for DSP. It's one of my favorite things. It always has been. Oh no! Tracy had to die cut fussy cut almost a full pack. I have actually fussy cut most of it as opposed to die cutting. This little umbrella I have die cut, but with this bunny, if you want the puddle, you have to fussy cut it. Otherwise it would cut the puddle off. So I have been fussy cutting that bunny. And I think the turtle that I cut for you guys last week, I could have die cut, but I didn't realize that. So that's okay. So I have dimensional this. There's a single layer of dimensionals on this lower part and a double decker up there where it will overlap. And then I'm going to do this one at just a single layer on the lower half. It doesn't need a double layer anywhere, but it will need a little glue dot at the top part where it's going to overlap the other cloud. I can't believe I'm almost done this card. This feels like it's gone way too quick. It's going to go a little bit closer. Are you guys like that? Do you ever move things? Okay, so those are the clouds. And now all that leaves me with is the embellishments. I said I was going to grab something to show you guys. I don't know if any of you recall what that was. I have a card I'll show you, but I feel like there was something else and then I'm gonna regret not remembering what it was. Okay, so I used one of the large white daisies. If I had my take your pick tool handy, I would have totally grabbed that to lift these out of here because it would be super handy to pull out the right size. And okay, so that's kind of the largest one, the middle-sized one, and the small one. And I went with just white as opposed to the card with the umbrellas. Okay, that is what I was thinking of then. Thank you. Now, just stick these to some glue dots. I think these things are the greatest. These little daisies. I think they're such an easy, quick embellishment. Okay, so this little guy goes right there. This little guy, I think I told you guys, you know what, it wasn't here, it was in a video tutorial I had to do. I was placing some embellishments, and because they had they were kind of like an oblong shape, I had suggested not facing them all in the same direction because then they look a little too strategic. And I did the same thing with the flowers. I didn't point the leaves all in the same direction because then it just looks too strategic for what flowers would be. And then this one, I just tucked up by this little wispy U there. Thanks, Michelle. I'm glad you could join in. I love watching your plant videos too. Michelle has quite the amazing collection of plants. I love it. All right, so that is the card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I will show you the card with all of the umbrellas. I don't know yet what this is going to be for, but I was playing around with something with Regency Park, so I'll eventually share that one too. But I used the technique with the umbrellas. So I did some stamping in the background, and then I embossed the layer, and then I just put a row of umbrellas. So with this, I really wish that this umbrella here would have had a die for it. It doesn't, so that's okay. I fussy cut that, and then I actually had to fussy cut these ones. So it would be nice if there was a die for these ones too. So this was the only one that I could have die cut, but I forgot by that point, and I fussy cut that one too. So, and look at the glossiness in those umbrellas. So that was that card. And then because I had an extra background stamped, and I had this little turtle that I showed you guys last week, where I took the turtle, which was incomplete. You can kind of see it back here. The umbrella was incomplete, so I took an umbrella from the bottom. I'll just grab that sheet and show you guys. Do I have that one handy? It's in my package here, so I'll just show you where I got it from for anybody that missed last week. And then that way, if you missed it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Last week, I showed everybody that I took this turtle, this guy here, his umbrella cut off here, and then this full umbrella was down here, so there was no turtle below it. So I snipped the umbrella from here and the incomplete turtle from here, and I combined them to make this turtle. So I wanted to use this leftover piece and combine it with the turtle that I had sitting here from last week, so that I could show you guys how I turned them into a card. So same thing, I just stamped in the background, embossed it, and then I put these layers on. I kind of wish that, I agree, Janet, I kind of wish once I had this all together that the clouds and stuff were up at the top, but because this technique was something I did through the middle, it still works. But I would maybe make a second one and put them up to the top and see how that goes. But these were some other cards I made this week. You can tell that I am really loving this suite. You wasted so much DSP. Aw, if you still have the borders to it, Brenda, you can always snip them and try to see what characters you can complete. So that is those ones. This is the card from today. And then if you guys are interested in any of the other events, you can find the graphic on my page now, or you can message me. You can still actually take part in those other events that I shared with you last week and at the start of this video. If you are sharing today's video, just make sure that you come back and comment so that I can enter you into the draw for one of these cards. And if you want to partake in the creative challenge for today's, my challenge for you for the creative challenge is to go to, I'll post another image of this one and it will say creative challenge so that you know where to post it. So what you'll do is just use this sketch. So if you don't have a background stamp that you can do this with and then cut the center portion out, it doesn't have to be a rectangle either. You could cut an oval, but just follow this basic idea where you create a background first and then cut out the middle and then do something with it. So you could, that could be an embossed layer as opposed to a stamped background, or it could be a stamped background. You can use your creativity, but just use this idea where you create a background, cut out a layer of it, and then pop it up, and then you can embellish it. If you want to follow this layout, you can. But take a photo and then post it on that thread. Once I post it, I will post it much earlier than next Friday. This one took me a week to get to posting for you guys. But last week's is open till Monday. And then when you see the photo of this one that says creative challenge, because this photo is actually already on my page, you want to watch for it where I put the creative challenge on it. You'll post them on that thread, and then I'll know to enter you into the draw. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you are inspired to play along with the creative challenge. And if I get a chance to come back before next Friday, I will post to let you guys know. Otherwise, that will be my aim, is for next Friday again. Thanks everybody for joining me. I hope you all have a good weekend. And if it's spring break where you are, I hope you have a good spring break. And I will talk to you guys soon. Good night, everyone.